Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. My teacher says there isn't anything that you can't use. It's all grist for the mill for your awakening, to develop your awareness. And without that, it's very hard to navigate in the dark. And there's a lot of darkness around us. So, first thing you understand is if you study, the Dharma doesn't suffer in comparison to any teaching. If you study the Abhidharma psychology and any of the yogic or the Buddhist teachings, in fact, if you study any of the teachings deep enough, the problem is people don't take it deep enough. They stop somewhere along the way and think like, oh, this is the great way. And it isn't. It's just a small way. Keep on going till you find the great way. Whether it's the three jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, whether you recognize the stages of your life as a student, as a householder, as a forest dweller, as a renunciate, and the symbols that each one of those stages represent in those different ashramas, whether you recognize the aims of life as a certain amount of accumulation necessary, the ability to enjoy the pleasures that are vouchsafed to you, whether you understand how to align yourself with the overarching harmony of what the Dharma represents at the cosmic level, and as you work towards your own kind of freedom, they use the word moksha for liberating yourself from all false distinctions and anything that you're a slave to. Whether you understand by studying the four foundations of mindfulness, watch your body sensations, watch the feelings as they arise, watch the mental states as they arise, and also notice consciousness. What is the thing that makes you aware of anything? Whether you study the four yogas of Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, these are all different ways of navigating in the dark. And when you get really specific, to see the modifications of consciousness, to see what causes ignorance of your true nature, to see how your own ego gets in the way, to see how grasping and pushing away, attachment and aversion work on an ongoing basis, and to see how your own denial of death and mortality and the fear that that creates has you clinging to things instead of letting go and swinging with everything. And whether or not you recognize the fetters, the things that chain you down in terms of mindfulness meditation. Notice how sense desire, anger, sloth, restlessness, and doubt all work. If not, you can't navigate in the dark. And one of the ways that you need to navigate in the dark is to understand that for a long time, in our culture, compassion has been in exile. We seem to have lost the heart that feels so deeply for people to make it as good as possible for as many as possible. But compassion begins at home, and without comparing ourselves to anybody else, one thing that's really good to accept, to navigate in the dark, is no one deserves more love and compassion than you do. Not even your brother and sister, right? No one knows what you've been through more than you. And as the old masters say, your wound is a womb through which you give birth to something. Where you stumble, that's where your treasure is. That's how you learn to navigate in the dark. So you can start off with something really, really simple. And even though I believe in rescuing language from the old biblical and theological mindset, still the 14 acts of mercy, as you can discover in the Old Testament, although we call it really the Hebrew Bible, when you get an opportunity, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, ransom the captive, give drink to the thirsty, bury the dead, visit the sick, instruct and counsel, admonish your brother and sister when you see they're missing the path. You can call it sin if you want to, but remember it's just an old archery term that means missing the mark. Bearing with insults, learning how to forgive, and then of course comforting the afflicted anytime you can, and always pray for everyone. If you do that, you will learn how to navigate in the dark and use everything as grist for the mill of your own awakening.